Hello, Math 10 students. I would like to say congratulations on your achievement on learning online. For some of you, you did excellent job. Even though I weren't in front of you in our classroom to teach you, but I did post my teaching video, and as long as you watch it, seem that you get understanding very well, and you got 100% for the lesson on factor, which is the new topic, and it's complicated from the YouTube video as well as from my video. And in the StudyForge website, it seemed to be even the more complicated. But you achieved an excellent job. You did well. Some of you get 100% on that, and it made me happy. So I want to share with you. It made me feel confident in my teaching and in confident of your learning. You achieve the lesson online very well. I would like to say congratulations to all of you. And I would like to move on because I know that some of you will feel eager to learn new topics every single day online. As long as you understand it and you did it well, you want to learn more and more. I assume that. But anyway, it's our job to teach and to learn together online. So I'm going to continue to post a new lesson for the coming week. After the factor, the first basic factor, today we'll get into a next lesson, which is grouping factor. Grouping factors, not so hard if you're familiar with our first lesson about basic factors, general common factor. So let me get into the lesson right away. But before get into the lesson, I would like to review what we have learned about general common factor, about the basic factor. So before I move on with the new lesson, I want to review the old lesson. For those of you, if you're behind with our online assignments, online quiz, please continue to try to catch up with it by watching my videos, by watching the assigned video from the StudyForce website. Before I send to you the videos from the StudyForge website, I myself have to take my time and watch it. If I see it appropriate, it's not so difficult, and it break up in the logical math sequence steps, I will select that video and assign it to you for you to watch. So please, working as a teamwork with me to follow the instruction online, watching on the videos I post before you do any assignments or quiz, and try not to let yourself so behind. As long as you know that the same like we learn online or in classroom, if we behind so many topics, eventually we could not catch up anymore and we give up. That is the common thing. It happened to everybody. It's not just you. It happened to me as well when I was a student. And that's why I try to catch up with any lesson in the steady pace consistently. Not today learn and then the next day I would just give it up or leave it aside, or not working every single day, So it's become a habit, and everything is built up to become a habit. If we pass the red light in the traffic, likely that we always pass the red light. And if we behind for one step, likely that we're behind next step, we're behind the third step, and so on. But if we try to catch up with it every single step, then we have form a habit that we will try to catch it up every single day and not let ourselves so behind. Yes, I understand that we all have things to do in life beside our learning and working. We have social life, we have family, we have everything. But time management is a key success to everybody. And sometimes we want to do something, we have to satisfy another thing. So I satisfy a lot to, you know, for my education and my career as well. So that today I know these topics, I know the knowledge in my subject area well, to teach you guys. So I have so much sacrifice in the past before I coming to this stage. I guess that's a common thing. Sometimes we have to trade off, exchange another thing we cannot have it done to do something we think that is more important. So that's the value trade-off and the ties management we all have to go through in life to achieve something. Anyway, I shouldn't talk too much in this video and should focus into the lesson right away. And forgive me if I wander off sometimes. Okay, let's get back to the topic. So today you will learn the grouping factor, which is, let me review. Okay, so this is review for general common factor, GCF, right? We call it general common factor. So let's review it. So let's say if I have an expression, an algebraic expression is 16 a to power 3 minus 4 a b plus 32 A2, A4, C. Okay, so let's say I have a complex, I call it complex because it has 3 terms, trinomials instead of 2 terms or 1 term, right? Expression. Now, if I want to factor this expression, as I said that the concept of math is from step 1 to step 2. So in elementary, if you want to factor number 24, only a number, no letters involved. You break it up, become 2 brackets timed together. This we call a product. A product means multiply, multiplication. So this product have 2 brackets timing together. And you can put in 6 times 4, right? So this we call, each member like this, we call a factor. A factor. So we have a factor 6 and we have a factor 4 in here. We break this number up in 2 brackets in such a way that when we tie them together, we multiply, we distribute again, we get back to 24. And that is how we factor correctly in elementary. Now, when we get into high school, the expression is no longer only a number, but it's a bunch of them with the different letters, include the powers and so on. So the expression is getting complicated. However, the concept is the same. It means, factor means you break the whole expression here into a bracket of factor in a case that when you multiply them, you get back to the same expression. So I'm going to make the two brackets. And in the first bracket, I have to find a greatest common factor for both number and letter in here. For the number, I can find that the greatest common factor is number 4, because you can break 4 times 4, which is equal 16. That's for number. For this number, I can break it become 4 times 1. And this number, I can break it become 4 times 8. The reason I do quick because I know the multiplication table. And therefore, I warn you and I told you, when we get into this topic, you need to remember multiplication table. Then you understand better and you do quicker. If you don't remember multiplication table, you still can use a calculator, but you have to break it down into so many numbers and find out which one is the greatest common factor in here for you to pick it up, right? So, for example, you can use a calculator, do trial and error, and you can get 16 times 2 for this number as well. However, you have to choose number 4 because that is the greatest common factor. Even though it's smaller than 16, but it is a common appear in all 3 numbers. If you choose the number 16, it's bigger, we call it greatest common factor, but it not appear in this term. It's only appear in 16 here, but it not appear in this term. And therefore, we have to pick a number 4 is the greatest common factor, even though it's smaller than 16. So I hope that you understand why is the importance of the multiplication table in math, right? So in elementary, if you try to work hard right at the start, you remember multiplication table, you will not struggle when you get into a deeper and higher level, okay? So now, we go back to this topic. So the greatest common factor here is number 4. Now I pull out the greatest common factor is the number 4, but what about letter? Okay, so now we talk about letter. Now let's check the letter. Which letter appear in all 3 terms? Because we're talking about common. Common means it have to be in on the 3 terms. It cannot just be in 2 terms and then the last term doesn't have it. Or the first term and then not appear in the second term and the third term. Gotta be appears in all 3 of them. So let's see what letter. Obviously, it will be letter A, because we have A in here, and also A in here. So it depends on the question. Some question you only can pull out the number only because you don't have any letter in common. But in another expression, you might have 2 letters in common. In another expression, you might have 4 letters in common, or just 1 letter in common, like in this case. It all depends on the question. And so we have 4 as the greatest common factor for the number. Now, for the letter, we choose the same letter, but also we choose the least power, right? So let's check. This is power 2, this is power 3, this is power 4. Of course, the least power is a square. This is the least power. So we put here a square. So we pull out the number greatest common factor, we pull out the letter common factor and the least power. We put in the first bracket. Now we have to consider what number we put in the second bracket. in such a way that when we distribute, when we multiply this bracket, we expand them, we get back into this expression, original expression. So the next number you have to put in here, of course, is number 4, because 4 times 4 here is 16. You already have 4 in here, right? Then the next number have to go in here, 4. So 4 times 4 will be back to you 16. For A, you will put down the letter A, but however, you have to choose the power correctly. What power? By looking at this power 3 here from the original, we know that we already have a power 2. So U3 minus 2, we got to be power 1. Because when you time them, you add the power. The same base, we add the power. That's always a rule for multiplication in letters. If you have the same base, A and A, you add their power. This is power 2, this is power 1. Add them, you get back to power 3 up here. Now we follow the negative, so we put down the negative, right? Negative, negative. What is the number we have to put in here? The only number you can put is 4 times 1 to get back to 4. So gotta be number 1. And for number 1, you can write it or you don't need to write it, right? And A here is A square, which is you already have an A square in here. So you don't need to write A square in here because when you multiply, it's appear in here already. So no A square, no number 1. What about the B? You need to have a letter B from here because when you tie this, you get 4A squared B, 4A squared B, exactly the same like this term, the second term. Now we're gonna put the next plus sign from this expression. And we have to time with this is 4 times A. Actually, I already break it up from here. So the number here have to be 8 so that I can 4 times A is equal to 32. So number A, this is A4. I need to have A square so that I can tie this A square with this A square to make A to power 4. So I need to put A letter with the power 2. And how do I get power 2? You can use 4 here minus 2 here to get that 2, right? What about the C here? I don't have a C in this bracket, so I have to attack to this so that when I distribute, I get back to exactly the same expression. So I review for you the greatest common factor from the previous lesson. I haven't get into a grouping factor lesson. I'm gonna make it as the next video so that you can have a break in between. You don't feel overwhelmed with the information I gave you. So let's end the review in here. And I don't show you how I expand and I check it because I think that you all know that we do it right and we get it right. We don't have to check. This is the solution. When you break this expression down, you get back to this. Okay, so this is the solution. So I don't want to make this stuff here is detailed and make you not seeing the number well. So I'm going to erase this and leave it for a moment. This is 4 A squared B, and this is 32 A to power 4. And when you factor this, this is the solution. This 2 bracket here is a solution. And you don't have to tie them. You don't have to expand them anymore, because you know when you expand them, you distribute them one arrow at a time. Then you get back to this, right? But we don't need to check that. So 4a squared times with 4a to power 1 give you back to 16a to power 3. 4a squared times with this b only will give back to you 4a squared b, which is the second term right here. 4a squared b. And if you distribute this bracket with the last number, 4 times a, you get back to 32. A squared times a squared give you a to power 4. And the c here you put down here, and therefore you can multiply and you get back to the last term. Okay. So let me go to the next video